So a bit of a recap of the race day and essentially where we are now. So we got up at, I think it was up around just before 4 a.m. The race started at 6 a.m. sharp, so ended up going to bed pretty early last night. And just because I'd been in the routine the last couple of days, I actually got a good solid sleep. Probably got about 7.5 hours or so of pretty good quality sleep. So yeah, woke up this morning and first thing I did was smash a coffee straight away. And the main reason for that is, without going into all the details, but get the bowels moving. Didn't really want anything left in there, so smashed through that. Had a banana, an apple, half an up and go, a little bit of honey, and I had a nut bar, and half a protein bar. So I smashed just bits and pieces all together, and then mixed up a couple of Powerade bottles. So I was sipping on Powerade and the on-course nutrition. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like Infinity or whatever it's called. But had a bottle of that and then pretty much just sipped on that for the rest of the morning. I made sure to kind of sit on the toilet for a bit to make sure I had, again, without going into too much detail, I just wanted to make sure I was pretty well in the clear with that. Did go to the toilet a lot in terms of number ones though this morning, so obviously a pretty good indication that I was super hydrated from yesterday, and felt good in that department. So for the rest of the morning until the race started, I just sipped on a mixed bottle of electrolyte mix of water, obviously. Left up here, which was about a half an hour drive, so spent that little bit of time in the car and then hopped out of the car and Matt and I walked to the start line. We also actually quickly stopped by the McDonald's at Alexandria, or the McDonald's at Maroochydore actually, and quickly just made sure it was all out of the system. So little pit stop to the toilets again at Macca's there, and then we pretty much walked to the start line. Just before the start, we both had a couple of snakes, just to replenish those lollies. And then in terms of the race, so race start at 6 a.m. I ended up seating myself up at the priority, or the A section. I just didn't want to battle the crowds and all that sort of stuff. They go in, I think there was 5 different waves, not waves, but like, I guess, areas of where you can start, where you can start each section. And then everyone moves through, and through the start line, but everyone doesn't start. Obviously you don't start your watch, and your official time doesn't start until you go through the start timing chip area. So everyone's bib obviously has a timing chip, and it doesn't start until there. But gun time for the pro athletes was at 6 a.m. sharp. But I think I went off not too far behind them by the time I crossed the line. In terms of nutrition for the actual race event, at every aid station, so I would say they were every 3 or 4 kilometers. It was something around that. I would half a cup of whatever the on-course electrolytes was first, and then half a cup of water to wash it down, and majority of the water I kind of swished around, swallowed a little bit and spat it out. So every aid station did that. In terms of the gels, so that was a big change. I didn't have any gels for the Gold Coast Marathon, and essentially just decided to make sure I replenished those the carbohydrates from that race. Looking back on all the numbers and research and stuff, I think I left 2 to 4 minutes or so is what it was estimated that I'd left on the table. So luckily, because of that strategy, I ended up getting a really solid PB from that race, which was 4 weeks ago. And I wouldn't say that that's the main reason. I wouldn't say that's entirely the reason I got a faster time in this race 4 weeks later, but I would say it played a pretty significant part, just making sure that, after the first 90 minutes to 2 hours, you're really working at that moderate to high intensity throughout the whole race. I did notice I felt a lot better by the time I got to 32 kilometers. I was in a much better state compared to how I felt with fatigue by that point in the same race in the GC. The Gold Coast Marathon's also a lot more flat as well, quite significantly flatter. I wouldn't say it was crazy, like way more flat, but there were two hills, two main hills that you go over. So you go over the Alexandra Headland once and twice, and then there were a couple of half decent gradients like going on and off the highway and stuff, but I won't go into that now. So whereas the Gold Coast Marathon was like it was just dead flat the whole way, so super fast. Back to the gels. Had one, so that was the biggest change, and I think it did play quite an enormous impact. But it was, so I had one at 15 kilometers or 14, just under 15 kilometers. So I had one at 14 kilometers and like really slowly just like let it absorb. So I'd have a squeeze and kind of keep cruising, and then have a squeeze and keep cruising. Then I had another one at 25 kilometers, and then I had my third at 34 kilometers. And I think that worked really, really well. I probably could have had one either just before I started the race, or maybe 3 or 4 kilometers in, had one, and then had another one at 15, and then did the same thing. So I probably could have had 4. I don't know if I could have squeezed 5 in. By the end of the race, it was, I don't know. They just, after a few of them, they just don't taste that great. So, but it's just the nature of like the texture of them, the salt and all that sort of stuff just dries your mouth out. So I made sure to have water at every aid station as well, just to wash my mouth out and just remove that uncomfortability factor. Other things to really note around that, so that's really all of the nutrition. Once I finished, I smashed a heap of oranges, a couple of bananas, and just tried to replenish fluids as quickly as I possibly could post race, because it just takes a bit of a toll on the body. But all in all, felt really good. Pace wise, held really consistent paces. So my target was actually to go under 255 for this race. And ended up getting that with the official time being a 2:54:22, compared to 2:54. So it's just over 4 minutes faster than what I ran on the Gold Coast Marathon in terms of official times. So the Gold Coast time I did 2:58:45, I think. So it's just over 4 minutes faster. So I honestly think having those replenished carbohydrates did play quite an enormous role. So pretty stoked with that. So that's time wise. Race wise, like in terms of like how I felt throughout the race, actually, really paced it really well. So to hit under 255, I had to maintain under 409. I set the target on my watch, so it got me it's 409 per kilometer. So on my watch, ever so slightly overcooked. I think it was about 150 meters off my watch in terms of distance. So it thought I achieved I hit 42.2 kilometers at like 2:53 or something, but guess what? You can never take the watch as the official time. Unfortunately, it's whatever you register from your start to your finish of the exact course measurements. So yeah, that's what I got to live with. So yeah, 2:54.22. So that's my that's my second official only marathon time. I had 2 other marathon times before that in previous times. The first was the one that I did unofficially when COVID cancelled the GC marathon of the 2021 race. So I was going to race that one. But yeah, it got cancelled due to COVID. So we just did a dummy one in the same, I guess, trying to imitate the course, and did a 3:16 for that race. And then a year later, I did the Ironman triathlon in Cairns, where I ran a marathon after the bike and swim I did a 3 hour 29. Might have been a 3 hour 28. I can't remember specifically. So technically, this is, other than the GC marathon 4 weeks ago, this is the second main official marathon recorded time. So really stoked. And I can go into some details and stuff with all the training and all the training blocks and stuff that I'd practiced over the last 4 to 5 months. So I essentially have been training seriously, targeting this exact event since the 7th of April earlier this year. So yeah, it's been a pretty solid block. I do really need to probably stay off my feet for a couple of days after this, because I have absorbed an enormous amount of load over the last few months. So, but we'll see how we go, see how the fire goes. I haven't really lost the love of it. It's a very addicting sport, because once you get a time, you're always looking forward, and I'm already looking forward in terms, I haven't really booked anything in, haven't really looked at what any other events are that are set to come up and stuff. But yeah, definitely I think there's still unfinished business for me to tap into, and I think going under that 4 minute per kilometer pace mark, I think that would be something really I'd be really stoked with to achieve, especially given the with all the training and all the fitness that I've put together over the last little bit. So yeah, but that's really it for now. There's a lot of other details I can go into, but was really stoked with my execution. Held really good consistent pace. I made sure my cadence was high. I didn't get too distracted with other things going on. I had a really good taper week. Prep was really good. All the little things really do add up. Eating good foods, the days leading into it, just sipping on water, just making sure to get good quality sleep, surrounding yourself with good like-minded people. All of those things really play into it. That's another huge thing, is always trying everything, trying a lot of things in training, and never trying something new on race day. So I'm actually really stoked with the outcome. The beautiful thing about anything to do with endurance sports, or stuff that's very objectively timed and is black and white with where you are in terms of your results, I think the really addicting thing about it is that you get a time, or you get an achievement, or you get a height, or you get whatever it is. It's tangible, and it's really addicting to look to always better that time. And I think that's the coolest aspect of these sports. So yeah, really stoked to come away with that. But that's kind of a very brief recap of how everything went. I can go into other more detail on other stuff, but yeah, appreciate you being a part of the journey. onwards to the next thing. See what happens.